Hey everybody, it's Mark and Jeannie Gabriella.
We are here in Marrakesh,
Oh
Morocco, at
my
the top of
gosh.
our riad in the middle of the Medina.
Yes, and a riad is like kind of like what we would call a bed and breakfast. And the Medina is the old town, which are these old walls from 1000, year 1000.
Yeah.
And the town was built in the Medina walls to protect the town. So here we are.
Yeah, and it was built like a rabbit warren. It's a maze, and that's a defensive move. So when people came to invade, they didn't know where to go, and we could plan an attack. So it's very strategic,
Yeah,
and it still has that vibe.
it's
It has
very
a
cool.
vibe of
It's an
like
incredibly cool place.
it's hard to find your way through it, and it's purposeful that
Yeah,
way. So
yes.
when you feel lost, it's not like don't take it on as a personal thing,
Yeah,
right? It's
it
like planned that
took
way.
us 3 days to figure out how to get back to our place.
And we are on the last day of Ramadan,
Last day of Ramadan.
and we're only about an hour away from the call to the
Less than an
final
hour.
prayer
Yeah.
that echoes through the city. And at that point, every day that we've been here has we've been experiencing the end of Ramadan, and they have this thing called the iftar, and that is when everyone comes together to break their fast, and they're fasting from food and water
Yes.
every day for 30 days.
Yeah, from sunrise to sunset. So we're going to start showing you some pictures and videos of our experience here while we're talking so that
Yeah.
you can kind of see what's been going on. But today, being the last day of Ramadan, we wanted to have an experience. We like to understand the local culture and religion and things that the people are doing. So for we landed here during Ramadan, the last 5 days, and so today we decided we would do a little bit of fasting. So I have been fasting since sunrise, and we will have they're making dinner for us here at about 7 o'clock. So I've had no water, I've had no food today, just to really get a sense of course they're doing it for 30 days, but I wanted to feel what it was like. And the thing for me is I've done nothing all day. I've been
Right.
editing videos, I've been writing, but I've been pretty sedentary. And I went out for very short walks a couple of times, but other than that, I haven't been doing much. And they are working all day. There are guys carrying beds and steel, and women washing and cleaning and cooking, and servers in the restaurants serving food to tourists all day long, smelling the food that they can't eat. It's just very inspirational to be with these people as they're fasting. I don't know how they're doing this for 30 days and still have energy to do anything.
No, I couldn't even make it through the day. I had to take a handful of trail mix because my migraine was splitting. And I couldn't do the water either. I had to drink water.
Yeah.
So Jeannie here, she's having more of the experience than I am, but I have a huge appreciation for what these people are doing.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk about this is going to be kind of what we do every week. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about our favorite things and then an inspirational story each.
right.
So, Mark, what was your favorite thing from the 4 days? It hasn't even been a week.
Well, there's been we've done a walking tour. We've seen a lot,
Hmm.
and I really have loved seeing the shops and the whole economy of this Medina, which is such a micro economy, and people working in their shops, doing leather work, doing metal work, right there, tap tap tap, working on the
Hmm.
tin, and I really loved that. And people are nodding off at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. They allow motorcycles in through the Medina, and so people are swerving and really hanging on by a thread towards the end. And my most memorable moment really happened was when we heard the call for iftar to start, and you hear people go and there's this joy, and everyone has their meal set and ready to go to break their fast. And at that point in the iftar, we Jeannie looked at a group of men that were huddled around their meal and told them Ramadan Kareem, which means have a blessed Ramadan. And their faces lit up watching this obvious Westerner acknowledge them in their real, very strenuous love and devotion towards their creator, towards God. And the looks on their
Mm-hmm.
faces in that point was this beautiful receiving of Jeannie's blessing and then giving it back, going, you know, Ramadan Kareem back to her. And it was just a really beautiful cross cultural moment where we
Hmm.
could reach in and give them some acknowledgement and
Hmm.
appreciation for actually what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and just walking through the souks is an experience in and of itself. The souks are the markets, and it's just everything is the colors, the from the carpets to the plates to the slippers to the food. It's just a sensory overload, and the
It is.
people. It's really quite amazing.
And they have also like these castles, palaces that are behind the walls, and you go into it and the incredible handwork, tile work, plaster work, all geometric. You know, they don't show pictures of people or animals. One of the reasons is because they believe that Allah created all that, so they don't want to make a characterization of something that is so perfect that Allah has already created. So they use geometric designs, they use their language, they have poetry written in beautiful letters. And so some of our explorations were going into some of these palaces behind the walls, and it was incredible.
Hmm.
It's so heart opening when you walk into the beautiful courtyard.
Yep. And another thing that we saw that was really cool was the first college where they taught the Quran, and it's absolutely gorgeous. We're going to show you some pictures of it here. Um, but my favorite thing, you know, we we went and did this really touristy thing that I'm a little bit embarrassed to say it was one of my favorite things, but it was so fun. It was called Dar es Salaam, and it's been there for I don't know how long. It's been there for many, many, many years. And you go down. It's like you go down into this tunnel, and then it opens up into these different rooms, and it's a dinner show. So um, we there
Hmm.
was it was belly dancers and men dancing with the little thing flying around on their head.
Yeah, they're fez with the
Their
tail
fez,
on it.
thank
Yeah,
you.
it's the Berber musicians and Berber dancers. Yeah,
Yes, yes. And,
tribal.
they just made it really fun and participatory. So, at one point, Mark got up and danced with the belly dancers. And then at the end, we both got up and tried on the fez and tried to make it go around on our heads. And that was really funny. But just it was just fun. It was a fun tourist thing to do. And it was beautiful. The service was great. It was fun watching the guy pour the mint tea, which is a big thing here in Morocco. Um, so that was, I just really enjoyed that evening.
Yeah, I love watching you in the conga line, Janie. You were having so much fun,
It was
and
fun.
it was an incredible high amount of joy going on in
Yes.
there. And it wasn't a big party scene, not a lot of drinking, not a lot of that. It was just
No,
more of an entertainment thing. So things are pretty low key here with party. It's not like, New Orleans or anything like that.
no. And a lot of it is that most places don't serve alcohol. That particular place did, but especially because we're in Ramadan and because it's a Muslim country, there's just not a lot of alcohol around. It's not
Right.
really a thing. I'm going to tell you an inspirational story. And, the tagline for our videos are soulful stories from the road. And so this would have been a really low point for me, but something that happened, I think it was our second night here. We went out to dinner, and it was a really lovely dinner. I had duck à l'orange, and It was really great.
Mhm.
But it was in the new part of town, which is about half an hour away from where we're staying. It's the only time we went there. And then on the way back, it was late and we wanted to get a taxi. So we got a taxi. He brought us back to the edge of the old town where you then have to walk. And so we got out of the taxi, we got back to our Riyadh, we got to the door, and I went, oh my God, I left my backpack in the taxi. And luckily, it didn't have anything valuable in it. My phone wasn't in there, and my passport, my money, nothing like that. But the bag itself, and just things that we use every day. So, water bottles and sun hats and sunscreen and things like that. But the bag itself, I really loved. I had taken special care in choosing this bag, so I was just really sad that it was our second day, and I'd already lost something that was everything for this trip. It was chosen carefully because we don't have very much room, right? So we get back, and I remember that there's this little tracking device that we put in all of our luggage. So I'm trying to track where my bag is, and it's moving around the city in the taxi. And I'm like, we better wait till the morning. So morning comes, and it looks like it's sitting someplace, and it's been sitting there for a while. So we get a taxi. We pay this taxi driver $30 to take us to go find my bag. We can't find it. There's a bunch of taxis sitting around. We try looking in the windows. We can't find it. There's like 5 other taxi drivers trying to help us find my bag. So we give up and we go back. But by this point, there's like at least 6 or 7 taxi drivers who know I'm looking for my bag. And I tell the guys at the Riyadh, and they're like, go to the police. And I'm like, that's not going to do any good. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let this go. And when we travel like this, everything we take is an opportunity to learn and grow. There's a gift in everything. What's the learning here? And so the
Mhm.
learning that we took from this was to slow down.
And do a double check before we transition out of one place to another. Just make sure that we have all of our items accounted for.
Yeah, we're still kind of in go, go, go mode because we have been for months getting ready for this trip. So that was the night. That was our third day. That was the night we went to the cool restaurant show.
Hmm.
So we come back around 11 o'clock, and a few minutes later, there's a knock on our door, and the guy from the Riyadh says, "There's someone here to see you." And as soon as he said that, I knew. I was like, "Oh my God, they found my bag!" And so Mark goes down to the door, opens the door, and you tell this part of the story because I wasn't there.
And there he is, our taxi driver on his motorcycle, wearing Jeannie's backpack with a big grin on his face. You remember me? I go, you're the
So,
taxi driver.
oh my
That's
God.
the backpack.
Oh,
You found us.
it was so well because we had told him where we were staying, but he couldn't take us right to the place because there are these little rabbit warrens and we were in a car. So Mark runs up, we get a tip, we give it to him, and we're all just like Ramadan Kareem, like, and you even
Yeah,
said Allah Akbar.
that's right. Because it did seem like a miracle. God is good, and it felt like an act of grace.
Yep. So that was an inspirational story to me because the guy brought my bag back and he was so happy to do so. And what they say is that during Ramadan, every good deed gets multiplied tenfold. And so I'm sure he felt like it was a good deed.
It
It
was a
was a
serious good deed.
fabulous good deed.
Yes.
We felt good about it. Everybody was happy. And that is our inspirational story from the road for this week.
Yes, it is.
So tomorrow we are going to Essaouira, which is a beach town about 3 hours away. And in about 40 minutes, we will be breaking the last fast for the last day of Ramadan. So, anything else?
Um, Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem. We'll see you next week. The main square at 9.